Hey, Elon Musk, she said you back on that stuff.
Nice. I think Colombia wants to get to the bottom of the problem.
She said you back on that stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm prone to believe her. She doing good so far. The Trump personality, the JD Vance politics, she three for three out the gate. So it's looking bad.
He's right, you know.
Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Now, as you guys already know, we are way over capacity for this year's Let 'Em Fight banquet. Not only that, we have seating issues that we need to... Who making all that noise? Susie Wiles was initially aghast at Elon Musk's USAID plan. Well, I mean, that just means that she has an operable brain. That's all that means. And it said initially. It didn't say that she didn't. Trump Chief of Staff Susie Wiles says president has an alcoholic's personality and much more in candid interviews. She saw his true social. She finally got online? Welcome to America, Susie Wiles. Wiles says Trump was wrong for tying Clinton to Epstein's criminal activity. She said that to people? Susie Wiles criticizes Bondi and opines on Trump. Well, she probably just want to get in with MAGA media. That's what's hot in the streets these days. That's what's hot in the streets is slamming Pam Bondi. You know what I mean? If I wanted to go in on Pam Bondi and wear a red hat, I could probably get on the front page of Rumble. I bet you that's all it is. We over capacity for Let 'Em Fight. We don't. Huh? Susie Wiles fights for job after spilling every Trump secret. Every Trump secret? Is Laura Trump using auto-tune? Is she spilling all that? Wow. Well, but has anybody acknowledged it though? Has anybody said anything? Wow. The White House had the entire cabinet put out statements. But has Susie Wiles said anything though? Did she say something? The article published early this morning is a disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume after reading it, this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. She said the finest president and staff in history at the same time as she wanted us to believe that it was a hit piece and she was taken out of context. Why would you do that? Like, why would you? No, I was taken out of context. No, you can't just believe everything that you hear. No, that stuff is not true. No. Now, let me tell you why the dinosaurs were really people. Why would you do that, Susie Wiles? You know? And it was recorded. The White House on Susie Wiles. This is a hit piece. Vanity Fair. All 11 interviews were recorded. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Every time. You know it is because last Christmas they was fighting too. Last Christmas, they was fighting too before they even got in office. They was having a fight about the H-1Bs. Susie Wiles, what'd you say? What'd you say? Susie Wiles, JD Vance, and the Junkyard Dogs, the White House Chief of Staff on Trump's second term. Throughout the first year of Trump's second administration, Vanity Fair writer Chris Whipple interviewed Wiles amid each moment of crisis. The Insider's account joins a portfolio of portraits for an unflinching, up-close look at power and peril. On the morning of November 4th, 2025, an off-year election day, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles was meeting in the Oval Office with the president and his top advisors, men she calls her core team. Vice President JD Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff. The agenda was twofold: ending the congressional filibuster and forcing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from power. As she related it later, Trump was holding forth on the filibuster when Wiles stood up and started for the door. Trump eyed her. "Is this an emergency that you have to leave?" he demanded. It was nothing of the sort. But Wiles left Trump guessing. She replied, "It's an emergency. It doesn't involve you." With that, according to Wiles, she departed the Oval. She told the Vanity Fair reporter that she lied to the president to get out of the meeting about the filibuster and Venezuela. Yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm with it. And it's recorded too? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He going to take this well. Yeah, boy. Let him fight! Wiles, wearing dark pants and a plain black leather top, met me in her office with a smile and a handshake. Over sandwiches from the White House mess, we talked about the challenges Trump faces. Throughout the past year, Wiles and I have spoken regularly about almost everything: the contents, the consequences of the Epstein files, ICE's brutal mass deportations, Musk's evisceration of USAID, the controversial deployment of the National Guard to U.S. cities, the demolition of the East Wing, the lethal strikes on boats allegedly being piloted by drug smugglers, acts many have called war crimes, Trump's physical and mental health, and whether he will defy the 22nd Amendment and try and stay for a third term. Not with Susie Wiles, I can tell you that right now. Now, wait a minute. You went right from her leaving the meeting with the core team to Wiles came up and met. Did she leave to talk to? She didn't just tell the Vanity Fair reporter she left. She left for the Vanity Fair interview that she's now calling it hit job. Woo! Wow. No, this is lying to your girl and going live from the club. That's what this is. Ooh, boy. We often spoke on Sundays after church. Wiles, an Episcopalian, calls herself Catholic Light. One time we spoke while she was doing her laundry in her Washington, D.C. rental. Trump, she told me, has an alcoholic's personality. Is that because he sleep so much of the time? Is that why? Is it an alcoholic's personality? That's fascinating. No, I don't dispute that at all. I don't dispute that at all.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
We must seek real bipartisan solutions.
It's interesting because, you know, I would say an alcoholic's personality would not be one of the things you would put out on the forefront. That would not be, you know, that's not a pro. That's not really a pro to the breakdown of the disease. So, you know what I mean? Trump, you got the personality without being able to sit back and have a good cognac. You might as well have a Mad Dog. You got the personality. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Hey, JD Vance, she said you and I. She said you just here for personal. We all knew that. It seemed pretty obvious to everybody but Trump, apparently. And now we get even they on the White House even know that. But the interesting thing about that, though, so if they're going to say that you're willing to bend this far for political reasons, for proximity to power, what does that say about your character and integrity? Questions we've been asking this entire time. Apparently, the Republicans have them too. Let them fight! Russell Vought, architect of the notorious Project 2025 and head of the Office of Management and Budget, is a right-wing absolute zealot. And when I asked what she thought of Musk reposting a tweet about public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, she replied, I think that's when he's microdosing. Hey, Elon Musk, she said you back on that stuff.
Nice. I think Colombia wants to get to the bottom of the problem.
She said you back on that stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm prone to believe her. She doing good so far. The Trump personality, the JD Vance politics, she three for three out the gate. So it's looking bad.
He's right, you know.
Susie Wiles is the daughter of the famous sportscaster Pat Summerall. As Wiles explains, her father was an alcoholic, so she knows how to deal with difficult men and big personalities. I make a specialty out of it, she says with a laugh. She told Trump she learned how to deal with alcoholics because her father was an alcoholic, just based on your personality. She said, who was it, Pat Summerall? She basically said she watched John Madden. She watched how John Madden was able to smooth the edges and make America love them as a combo. Trump, how many times has she mentioned turducken when y'all been in the, has she talk about turducken? Did she just in the middle of a sentence just say, whap? Did she say stuff like that in the middle of a sentence? Boom. I knew it. Susie Wiles, you 4 for 4 now. The most valuable gift Susie got from her dad was hard-earned. Summerall was an absentee father and an alcoholic, and Wiles helped her mother stage interventions to get him into treatment. Summerall was sober for 21 years before his death in 2013. Alcoholism does bad things to relationships, and so it was with my dad and me. Some clinical psychologist that knows 1 million times more than I do will dispute what I'm going to say, but high-functioning alcoholics or alcoholics in general, their personalities are exaggerated when they drink. And so I'm a little bit of an expert in big personalities. Wiles said Trump has an alcoholic's personality. He operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. Nothing, zero, nothing. Okay, now, first of all, credit to Pat Summerall for his sobriety. Very happy at the way that story ended, which is not new to me. That's one that I know and have followed. But as for you, Trump, I can't say the same for you. See, no, because Pat Summerall got sober. She talking about when he was down bad. Yes, when he was down, when they was having to do interventions, and that's what you need. That's what she was saying that you need. Your natural state is the blitz demented mind of an alcoholic before they get sober. That's what your chief of staff said. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! And a bah humbug to you.
Wiles went to work in 2018 for an ambitious gubernatorial candidate named Ron DeSantis. Trump urged DeSantis, then his protege, to hire her. She then led the underdog candidate to victory, but afterwards, DeSantis turned on her, denouncing Wiles publicly and bad-mouthing her privately. To this day, Wiles doesn't know what triggered the governor's vendetta. I think he thought I was getting too much attention, which is ironic. I don't ever seek attention. Wiles landed on her feet. That was probably it. That was probably, because you say you landed on your feet. So if you good with your feet, that's probably it. Because he has to be very careful in his movements with his feet because of them boots he got on. So that's probably. Hey, Susie Wiles, did you forget them lifts? Because he would turn on you for that. Wiles landed on her feet organizing Florida for Trump's 2020 re-election bid. Trump had rescued Wiles, recently divorced at a dark moment in her life. Wiles and her husband divorced in 2017 due, she has said, to his bad financial decisions. I'm sorry. Did you say you got a divorce due to your husband's bad financial decisions? So you went to work for Trump? On Trump's first day in office, the president signed a flurry of executive orders, 26 in all, withdrawing the U.S. from the WHO and the Paris Climate Agreement, rescinding birthright citizenship, sending troops to the southern border, freezing foreign aid, and stopping federal hiring. Then Trump issued pardons to almost everyone convicted in January 6 assault on the Capitol, in which 9 people ultimately died and 150 were injured. Even rioters who had beaten cops within an inch of their lives were set free. 14 people convicted of seditious conspiracy had their sentences commuted. Did she ever ask the president, wait a minute, do you really want to pardon all 1,500 January 6 convicts, or should we be more selective? I did exactly that, Wiles replied. I said, I'm on board with the people that were happenstancers or didn't do anything violent. And we certainly know what everybody did because FBI had done such an incredible job. Susie Wiles, you sure the FBI did such an incredible job? Are you sure? Because that's not what I heard from your boss. Trump has said his FBI investigators were corrupt and part of a deep state. One more time for those in the back. Trump said his FBI investigators were corrupt and part of a deep state. But Trump argued that even the violent offenders had been unfairly treated. Wiles explained in every case of the ones he was looking at, in every case, they had already served more time than the sentencing guidelines would have suggested. So given that, I sort of got on board. Cap. No, I call cap on that. I call cap on that. No, because you trying to absolve yourself from the J6 pardons, which, by the way, there's a reason why I continually bring that up as something that they should never be able to run away from. What's that? Law and order. Law and order. You here to protect the people. You here to decrease crime, right? They should never be able to run away from that. Now you see her trying to divorce herself from it, but at the same time, not throw him under the bus. Good luck with that one. According to court records, many of the January 6 rioters pardoned by Trump had received sentences that were lighter than the guidelines. From day one, Wiles had to grapple with another power center, Elon Musk. He's a complete solo actor, said Wiles of Trump's billionaire pal, who led the scorched earth blitz known as the Department of Government Efficiency. Wiles described Musk as something akin to a jacked up Nosferatu. Nosferatu, is that like Del the Funky Homo Sapien? What's Nosferatu? Is that an anime character? Is that the name of one of those Nas albums when he was in his shiny suit era? The challenge with Elon is keeping up with them, she told me. He's an avowed Wow! She not only naming names, she naming substances. Hey, Susie, you got a dealer? Huh? Can we get a time and a place? That's phenomenal. That is what? And can we also grapple with the fact that this man operates X with this as a known fact by all of those around him, and we just act like it's regular. We just act like it's regular. You know what I mean? We saw the man swaying off the dog food.
Off the mother drugs, I be tripping.
Either that, or he got pieced up by Scott Bessent, or both. And he just goes about his life running a major company, multiples of them, in fact, while being the richest man in the world. That's our timeline. He's an avowed ketamine user, and he sleeps in a sleeping bag in the executive office building in the daytime. And he's an odd duck, as I think geniuses are. You know, it's not helpful, but he's his own person. Now, wait a minute. You said he is a known ketamine user and he sleeps in a sleeping bag on the floor during the daytime.
Hey, yo, what the?
That's what y'all be saying about unhoused people. That's exactly what the negative stereotypes that you like to apply to the people that are literally down bad in society are literally true of Elon Musk. According to Susie Wiles, on record.
I be tripping.
Hey, Susie Wiles, you ever find lotto tickets in that sleeping bag? No, just old lotto tickets from lottos that got drawn days, weeks, and months ago. Hey, Susie Wiles, you ever see mismatched shoes around his sleeping bag? Like two left feet or two completely different color and brand tennies? Does he also like Thunderbird? Must trigger the first true crisis of the Trump presidency and an early test for Wiles. Trump's chief was shocked when the SpaceX founder eviscerated USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. I was initially aghast because I think anybody that pays attention to government and has ever paid attention to USAID believed, as I did, they do very good work. In his executive order freezing foreign aid, Trump had decreed that life-saving programs should be spared. Instead, they were shuttered. When Musk said we're doing this, he was already into it, said Wiles, and that's probably because he knew it would be horrifying to others, but he decided it was a better approach to shut it down, fire everybody, shut them out, and then go rebuild. Not the way I would do it. Wiles knew that fixing this was on her. He doesn't know the details of these smallish agencies. I'm sorry. That didn't stop him from speaking on it, did it? That didn't stop Trump from speaking on it as if he knew the details of these smallest agencies. Now, did it? Wiles says she called Musk on the carpet. You can't just lock people out of their offices. At first, Wiles didn't grasp the effect that slashing USAID programs would have on humanitarian aid. I didn't know a lot about the extent of their grant making, but with immunizations halted in Africa, lives would be lost. Soon she was getting frantic calls from relief agency heads and former government officials with a dire message. Thousands of lives were in the balance. Wiles continues, so Marco is on his way to Panama. We call him and say, your Senate confirmed. You're going to have to be the custodian, essentially, of USAID. But Musk forged ahead, all throttle, no brake. Elon's attitude is you have to get it done fast. If you're an incrementalist, you won't get your rocket to the moon. And so with that attitude, you're going to break some China. But no rational person could think the USAID process was a good one. Nobody. That's right. Lives in the balance. Lives ultimately lost. You're going to have to break some China. As she tries to divorce herself from it. For Trump, Wiles helped pick a cabinet of MAGA hardliners, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, John Ratcliffe, Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, and Kristi Noem. Wiles calls them a world-class cabinet better than anything I could have conceived of. What did you conceive of? That this is better than anything? You don't dream, do you? Is that you don't dream? So it's better than the darkness that you see every night when you close your eyes and nothing else? Because that's about all it's better than. I can tell you that right now. I can only imagine. This is better than anything I could have conceived of. And also, thank you for taking ownership over Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, who they already had packed up his things in December of 2025 while you try and wash your hands of Elon Musk. Musk, how that taste? How that taste? She just threw her arms around Hegseth while throwing you under the bus with a box of ketamine. Trump's cabinet are either one of the least qualified presidential teams in history or, to hear Wiles tell it, disruptors, the only people with the balls to take on an entrenched deep state. I'm sorry. What would you characterize as deep state? Actually, here's a better question. What would Trump characterize as deep state? What would be deep state to Trump? Literally anything that opposes him. It's deep state. Fake news and deep state. That's right. So to read this again, the only people with the balls to take on opposition, are you under the impression that no other candidate, no other cabinet has encountered opposition? Is that what you're under the impression of?
See the game. Why do you think everybody on the left is celebrating Susie Wiles saying bad shit about the president and his team? Now, do I think that she said it the way that it's posed in these little blurbs? No.
Chris Cuomo, they got tapes. Hey, Vanity Fair, Chris Cuomo wants you to release the tapes. And quite frankly, I'm with it. I think we all with it.
And when you read through the article, she's basically just echoing what has been out there about people. Does that make her a little bit more of a fair broker? Yeah, but the only reason that it's news today is that Susie Wiles, the chief of staff for the Trump administration, is saying bad shit about her own. So they like it because they want to hear the bad shit. No, she's just being honest. Yeah, it's honest when you like it. But where does it get anything? You see, where does it get anything? It doesn't. It doesn't. The only needle they want to move is an advantage. Good for Trump, bad for Trump. Trump's going to make his own trouble. Okay? Who is offering you anything better? Think about that. I'll tell you what the answer is not. The algorithms. They are going to feed you the shit that outrages people because that's how they get paid.
Now, he asks, what is the there? What is the point of all of this? And I think it is clear as far as I'm concerned. I just talked on my live this week about the two classifications of MAGAs post-Trump, which is approaching ever so quickly. You have those that knew better and those that didn't. Those that didn't will disappear. Those that knew better will try and pivot. And that's what all those words were.
Let's talk about Susie Wiles, youngins. She used to string of interviews about how awful and weird shit is in the White House. And I want you to listen real closely to how she tells this story. She paints Trump as erratic, but she stays. She calls Vance political, but she clears the runway. She praises Rubio's principles while describing how he bent him. She calls the whole damn thing dysfunctional, all while managing it. So let's be real clear, that ain't whistleblowing. That's washing your hands. She ain't confessing, she ain't resigning, and she ain't refusing orders. What she's unintentionally saying is, remember when this falls apart, I knew it was bad. Power don't just come from making decisions, youngins. It comes from making things seem normal. And old Susie Cream Cheese ain't a witness. She's infrastructure. And while she's explaining who came around and why, she ain't describing ambition. She's legitimizing it. She's teaching the public that principles are bendable, flexible, that opportunism is normal, and that power excuses the term. If she didn't agree with all this, she'd stop working for it. She understands the harm. She names the harm. She benefits from proximity to the harm, and then asks to be remembered as concerned. She wants credit for discomfort while not paying the price for dissent.
That's exactly right. And it is up for us, all the people still who utilize facts and logic, to prevent that reality. And by the way, we not done.
Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair. I don't know what Caroline pisses a lot of people off, but I don't know. I don't know what she did to piss you. But babe, I'm not one of those millennials that's like, oh, you know, I look so good for my age. But I'm a solid 10 years older than her, and Caroline, she's the reason for the word witch.
Oh yeah, we gonna have to talk about that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I am truly happy you're here. I would never do you like Target.
I'm so excited to show you what I got in my Target grab bag this year. I waited all night so I could get this. Okay, so the first thing I got was, they hate you.
So I made sure I pushed out those merch discount codes for the peoplesgetup.com and reesewaters.com to all the people in deep waters and troubled waters. That also goes for the people that are a part of our Patreon. Oh, that's right. We also have a Patreon. All of the benefits listed mirror those here on membership on YouTube, in addition to the weekly newsletter. Let's see what we got here. Trump's protective bubble may be popping. That's not the only thing popping. This Leto fight banquet about to be lit. I can tell you that right now. Yes! Yes! If you want to get the weekly newsletter, you can sign up for it at patreon.com/ReeseWaters. And if you want to sign up for the monthly newsletter, that's over at reesewaters.com. Now, we are in end of year award season, and I want to hear from you. So be on the lookout on the community tab, as well as my lives, for polls that will help me weed through the nomination process. And I would say 2025 has been the year of FAFO, has it not? I would say so, which makes this particularly appropriate. Hello, my FAFO shirt just arrived and I had to get some pics. Also, my daughter wanted to show off her Labubu because her MAGA mom forbids them for being demonic. So, of course, daddy got her one. LOL. I hope you're having a great week, from my man, Jared. Now, Jared, shout out to you. I love the FAFO gear as well as the Labubu, but YouTube doesn't love showing kids. They definitely don't love showing kids. And I would also say that you said her MAGA mom. You know how litigious they be. Hey, tell your daughter I said respect. Much love. Speaking of respect and love, the last time I was here, I highlighted someone who asked me if they had to be a member to purchase merch and lamenting they wished that they could do more. Well, guess what I received immediately after that? Hi, Reese. I would like to help the 66-year-old lady who wanted merch but thought she needed to be a member. I'd like to buy her the item she wanted. Is this possible? I can be anonymous and don't need to know her address. Thank you for being a bright spot in these dark, dark days. I'm a subscriber and I watch all of your videos. Now, I won't include the name because that person did say that they could be kept anonymous. But what I will say is, just as I said the first time, that it's that kind of love that is so much more significant than any financial contribution might be. Here is another example of that, and is the connectiveness and the strength of the bond in this community that has truly transformed not only my life, but what I even thought was possible in this particular space. So I want to thank you, and I would like to offer you both the item of your choice. I'll be reaching out to both of you in the nature of paying it forward. Maybe we can start a whole pay forward chain, and then everybody pays for the next. That would get messy because I'm cheap, so I can only imagine how cheap some of the people who follow me be. That's going to be a whole mess. Y'all know who you are.